So look, every single business needs customers. And in order to get customers, you must generate sales. And whether you're in B2B or B2C, whatever it may be, at the end of the day, it's all P2P, person to person. Behind every single transaction, there is a human being making a decision. And if you're trying to generate a sale yourself, then essentially your role to take this human being from a stranger to a customer that is willing to hand you their hard-earned money, which isn't an easy thing to do, because think about how thoughtful and frugal you yourself are with the way that you spend your money, right? And so that's why acquiring customers is really one of the most painful parts of business. And today there's countless of different sales and marketing tactics that exist, and there's 101 different reasons why these same tactics could not be working despite all of your efforts. And so what I want to do in this video is to basically strip away all of the noise and distill things down to their very, very core, down to these timeless principles that applied thousands of years ago when people didn't even have a medium of exchange and were still bartering. And these principles apply today, and they will continue applying for centuries to come, because they are the thing that ultimately determine whether a person decides to purchase or not. And I myself, whenever creating sales assets or strategies or evaluating their success, I always come back to these timeless truths to give me clarity. And these are quite simple. In order to make a sale, you need three things. First, you need awareness. So someone needs to actually be aware of your offer. Secondly, you need intent. So someone must have an underlying intent in what it is that you're offering. And lastly, you need trust. So a person needs to trust that your offer is the thing that will take you from their current state to their desired state. And quite simply, that's it. So long as you have these three critical components, you will be able to make a sale, whether that's a chocolate bar or a multi-million-dollar deal. And if you're wondering why you're not making enough sales, then it's simply because you don't have enough of one or more of these three components. You could not be making enough people aware of your offer, and if they're not aware, then how do you expect them to buy in the first place? Or maybe you do make people aware, but then the people that you are making aware, they aren't really high intent groups, so they have no underlying interest in your thing. Or maybe then you decide to sort of fix things up, and then you actually start targeting high intent groups, but then the thing that's holding them back from a purchase is a genuine lack of trust in what it is that you're offering and whether it will fulfill their needs or not. It's like, if you come across a dodgy kebab shop, right? It doesn't matter if you're aware of it and if you're hungry, so if you have that intent. If you don't have that trust in the kebab shop and you think that eating it will only give you food poisoning, then you're not going to buy a product. I mean, for some people that's not a problem, right? And so that's how these kebab shops survive. But that's just to illustrate the point that trust is a critical piece as well, right? Don't expect people to buy just because you've made them aware and just because you know that they have an interest in your solution. And that's pretty much it. Once again, awareness, intent, and trust. These are the three ingredients you need in order to make a sale. And all three of these are critical to each other's success. So you do need all three of them at the same time, but it's collectively exhaustive. So as long as you have all three, you basically have all of your bases covered in terms of turning a stranger into a paying customer. And yes, this seems basic, but that's exactly how we want it, because 99% of the results, they lie in mastering the basics. It's like for a football player, it's not their ability to do like a scorpion kick that really determines their quality as a player, but it's going to be their ability to pass, to do the defending, the aerial threat, and so on. Like those basics are really what determine their quality as a player. And these basics that we've discussed so far, they are the thing that ultimately determine whether you are generating sales or not. Now, the trickier part of all of this is the implementation, right? Because yes, you need awareness, yes, you need intent and trust, but what do these components actually look like? What does building them out look like, and how do you optimize them? And that's why in this video too, I will share how I think about these. So starting with awareness, the key implication of this awareness component is that sales is basically a volumes game. So if you want to have more customers, then you must simply make more strangers aware of your offer. Now, this will only work if you have a non-zero intent and trust component, because otherwise what's the point of making more people aware if they're not going to trickle down into paying customers anyway, because they either don't resonate with what it is that you're offering, so their intent is zero, or maybe they don't trust you to fulfill on, or they don't trust their transformation to actually take place by going ahead with your offer. So the trust component is zero. So awareness is a volumes game as long as your other two components are non-zero, and the more non-zero they are, so the further away they are from zero, i.e. the larger they are, the more of an impact will scaling awareness have on your sales, because for every additional unit of awareness, you would be basically getting a greater yield because your intent and trust are higher, right? So this is the sort of key implication of awareness. And as you can see, everything is a bit interrelated, right? So the effectiveness of one component is very much dependent on the effectiveness of the other, right? And sometimes they can act in like compensatory manners where, for example, if let's say you're making a lot of people aware suddenly, right, that might actually hinder the trust because you're pitching yourself too much, right? So look, just bear in mind that this is all a bit sort of dynamic and interconnected, right? But look, the key thing with all of this is that the number of customers that you could possibly acquire is capped by the number of people that have been made aware of your offer. So if you're looking to acquire more customers, then simply make more people aware of your offer. And the efficacy of this new awareness trickling down into actual paying clients is determined by the other two variables, which brings me very nicely to talk about the next one, that is intent. So intent measures how much underlying drive there is in someone to purchase your product. And the more intent that someone has, the worse or even lazier that you can actually afford to be in your marketing, because this person is so propelled by their desire that you actually have to do a lot less pulling in their journey from stranger to customer. And you know, there's a saying that goes something like this: an exceptional salesman with a mediocre product will sell way less than a mediocre salesman with an exceptional product. Because at the end of the day, marketing isn't here to, you know, completely flip people's beliefs upside down. And at the end of the day, there is an underlying intent in people to buy a particular thing. And so the easiest way that you can actually supercharge the efficacy of your sales is just to sell what people want. Like it doesn't, and that's what allows you to be compelling rather than convincing, right? Because when the underlying product is so good, you can afford to be way less convincing in your sales, and you sort of you know, ride the wave of the product doing the selling for itself. And the best way to identify a product that does the selling for itself is to have one that solves a very acute pain point. So the thing that drives human purchases is pain, right? Pain of some sort in some form, be that psychological, be that physical, whatever it may be. The thing that drives purchasing decisions is pain. So the greater the pain that you can resolve, the more intent will the person that you're selling to have, and therefore the more willing they will be to purchase your product or even pay you a premium for the product, right? And so the greatest way to supercharge sort of the efficacy of your entire marketing and sales operation is just to simply sell something that is already in more demand by the market. So once someone is aware of a product that they have genuine purchasing intent for, the last thing they need before becoming a customer is trust. And a lot of people make the mistake of thinking that it's purely trust in the person that's selling the good or service that they need, when in reality it's not so much the trust in just the vendor, but the trust in the overall transformation. And trust in the vendor is simply a subset of this overall trust in the transformation, because another key component that they also need to have is trust in themselves to be able to benefit from the solution. And that's exactly why, you know, you see so many gurus and online personalities try to make things look as easy as possible. Like, yes, they could flash their authority and things like that, and that's what will build trust in them. But equally, they're trying to make things look easy to build trust in the person themselves. So in the target audience themselves, to make them feel like, you know, like make them feel empowered, right? They want to feel empowered, and they want to have the trust in themselves to feel like they are someone that can actually achieve such a transformation, right? That's the exact reason why so many gurus and just online personalities try to make things try to make things look way easier than they truly are, because they know that a person that doesn't have confidence in themselves to benefit from a solution isn't a purchasing customer. So trust comes from sort of various pools, right? There's like many different pools of trust, but the main two are trust in the vendor and then trust in themselves to be able to benefit from the offer and undergo a transformation that the person is looking for. And look, we could continue talking on and on about this because it's a very deep rabbit hole, but I wanted to stay true to my promise, which is to keep things as fundamental as possible, because tactics and strategies, they are sort of very context and nuance specific, whereas fundamentals, they are really the things, they're the basics that are applicable in a range of sort of various use cases, and they are the thing that ultimately drive the majority of the results. And the fundamentals of turning a stranger into a customer are awareness, intent, and trust. And look, if you don't see these three words in your dreams tonight, then unfortunately I haven't accomplished my mission with this video. But in all seriousness, these are really the basics that drive the majority of the results. And yeah, but if you're looking for more sort of tactical stuff, then check out my last video where I went through one of the highest grossing video sales letters on the market right now. And there you get to see sort of the more tactical insights as to how to actually script assets and sort of, which exact combinations of words and points to use and the rationale behind all of this. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.